That could be like, I'm done solving what's y equals mx plus b. I'ma drop out. Wow, this chapter, man. This chapter really is the beginning of the end, as its title really holds a high degree in this chapter. Now, I know I haven't been uploading much to the channel with My Hero Academia chapter reviews recently. However, there's no way I was gonna miss out on this chapter and giving my take on this chapter review. So that being said, let's dive into this chapter. Chapter 306 starts off with All Might noticing that the previous One For All users are with Deku. All Might could somewhat tell as he feels it coursing through himself, as him being the previous owner of One For All. Then, a knock on the door catches All Might's attention, and it's Hawks and Best Genius. Hawks talks how he's been going everywhere, gathering information. He notices that All Might is still looking after Deku and suggests that he could come back some other time, though All Might tells Hawks that it's fine and that Deku would wake up soon. In the background, we see Ochako, Ida, and Jiro checking in on Deku in the hallway, with Hawks telling All Might that he's interested about Deku and One For All. All Might was stunned to hear that, as Hawks continues that he heard about it from some heroes towards the end of the battles. He claims the media has been picking up on it solely, and Endeavor told Hawks that Shigaraki is going after Deku. Even if he heard all of it or not, Hawks wants to prevent another tragedy, and he knows that the heroes are not just fighting villains anymore, but society. All Might in his mind knows that the secret was meant to be kept to prevent havoc across society. Despite that, All Might knows that they're not at that point anymore, as he asks Hawks and Best Genius that they should go somewhere else so that All Might could tell them everything. Back in UA, the principal received a phone call and says he will send requests for government assistance and he'll sort it out. So 3 days has passed and the panic hasn't stopped, and everyone's looking for someone to blame in the ordeal they're in right now. And we see in a press conference filled with reporters and media asking questions to the heroes present, who are Endeavor, Best Genius, and Hawks. And well, the conference started off with a barrage of laying out their frustrations and making the heroes feel bad for not being able to protect the people. Though I do agree why they're mad, since the heroes are handling the situation poorly. And so we see Endeavor is answering to the reporters about his family's past. As he gets touched upon from the people's reaction, they couldn't believe that Endeavor did what he did and he is their #1 hero. Then the reporters go crazy about hearing about Best Genius and Hawks' allegations. Hawks briefly explains that Best Genius' death was fake so that Hawks could work as a spy in a League of Villains. He couldn't say all the allegations are debunked except for his father's criminal history and killing the villain named Twice. He apologized to everyone that he hid his connections about his father. Hawks then addresses the killing of a villain motive. He said there was no course of action that was appropriate at that moment. He explains if Twice duplication quirk is left unchecked, it would have caused more problems to society than anything else. He again apologizes for his decision making on killing Twice. In the crowd of reporters, a female reporter raises her hand and asks if it will be okay, as she reveals during Gigantomachnia's rampage her mother was severely injured. She says that saying everything was true and we're sorry isn't going to fix everything. She talks about, do you have any idea how many people lost their homes and lives this week alone? Claiming what rights do these heroes have to carefully sidestepping this? She continues on saying the rampage was done by the villain. However, the looks on these heroes' faces showed that because of their mistakes, things ended up horribly in the long run. Telling them all of that, Endeavor spoke and said to the reporter what to make up for what he did by having himself cry in front of her, and the female reporter just go berserk and says, excuse me, as all she's asking for to them is to ease the panic and rid the villains. To that, Endeavor agrees with her, as he replies that's how Endeavor can make up for it. After that, Best Genius speaks on the behalf of the issue that a lot of professional heroes are resigning and protecting society at large would be difficult. That being stated, Best Genius announces a plan to prioritize the protection of certain citizens. The media goes mad, unable to understand what Genius is talking about. Best Genius explains after talking with the government, UA High School will be a sanctuary for those who are connected to the students in the hero course, and with UA high security, this was a viable choice. Adding on, the parents of these students have begun moving in. To me, though, doesn't seem like it will provide any amount of security. Endeavor steps up and says they're going forward with this because of the time of uncertainty. He asks the reporters to tell him all their worries and hatred towards himself, and states it's not the lives of other heroes you should concern yourself with. He requested to everyone to just watch him, as we see this epic fire flare back on Endeavor's face, showing that he's serious and has one foot in the gas pedal. Soon after that, we see panels of the injured heroes such as Aizawa, Miracle, Wash Wash, Mount Lady, and Woods. And here we have that even though the number of heroes have decreased by a lot, as well as people who are in need of a hero with no one to be there to reach them as a beacon of hope. Despite this crisis, there are still those who stand up to fight. And down below, we see a small panel of Dabby making a brief appearance, commenting that wasn't that enough Torment Dad, as he proceeds to laugh a bit on on what's going on right now. Soon afterwards, when the press questioned Endeavor about his knowledge on One For All, he claims that he doesn't know anything about it, saying that so he lied to the press so that All Might and Deku wouldn't be targeted by the media. And speaking of one of those two, word has gone out through the students of Class 1A. It was revealed that Deku has written letters to the students of Class 1A, and we see one of his letters written to Ochako. He wrote thanks for everything. He goes on that he doesn't feel to keep it a secret to his class, with the big reveal that his quirk is a power that All Might passed to him. All the other students from Class 1A are trying to figure out what's going on, and we see Ochako reading the rest of the letter in disbelief as it continues with what Deku has written, that he's being targeted by All For One and Shigaraki because they want to take away his special power. It continues on with what Deku wrote. Before that happens, he's leaving UA. Ochako reads the letter and places it on her face, calling Deku a dummy. And here we have a text next to Ochako that says, if a hero doesn't falter in any situation, no matter how dire, what do we call someone as dire as you? To which here, she's referring to Deku. Now after that panel, we have a time skip to a month of April is here, and this reveals a big bombshell that has been brought upon to every My Hero manga reader, and myself thought would never happen. Ladies and gentlemen, Deku has left his academia. Let me say it one more time for the people in the back. Deku dropped out of UA. We get to see this epic shot of Deku wearing his uniform with his backpack and a worn out scarf. We see that he's in a high building looking down in the city he's in with a cold that's there, and from the looks of it, there's trouble that's going on in the city that Deku is in. It closes up on his eyes as he says a giant villain as the manga chapter ends there. My oh my, this really is a big turning point in My Hero Academia. At this point, it really shouldn't be called My Hero Academia anymore, and it should be renamed to My Hero since Deku left UA. It's like so many questions that's going through my head right now. For example, how long has Deku been alone and been able to sleep and eat? How is he dealing with financially? Also, how is Deku going to approach the hero society as he wants to become the #1 hero? Will he become some sort of vigilante? Will he do drugs? Nah, probably not. Will Shinzo, the student with purple funky hair, for the next semester to replace Deku? Which will probably make sense because there's an empty spot available and Shinzo could possibly fill in that desk. But hey, we had to wait to see for the next chapter and possibly the next other chapters after that to see what's going to happen. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please give this video a like for more My Hero Academia manga content. And if you want, consider subscribing to my channel. With all that said, see y'all next time in the next video. Peace.